Halo and Destiny will sometimes be compared due to some obvious similarities. They're both sci-fi FPS games, they were both made by Bungie, and the games have strange parallels that some fans have drawn. Now, these games are also both very different. One is a looter-shooter MMO, while the other is an arena FPS with a campaign and an emphasis on even starts gunplay. Well, most of the time. Regardless, this has led to people often wondering, well, what would a Halo-Destiny crossover actually look like? Let's see if we can frame it. I'll break this into two main sections, lore and gameplay. Let's talk about the lore first, as we're going to need some context as to how this crossover actually makes sense. I'll be working under one rule, and that is that this should make sense without the use of some multiversal collision or a portal of some sort. Obviously, there are also going to be quite a few creative liberties here. There are two general ways that this story could make sense. One where you, quote, place Destiny before Halo, and one where it comes after. I will be placing it before Halo, and here's what I mean by that. In this universe, the ancient humans that waged war with the Forerunners are the humans that made contact with the Traveler. Just like in Destiny, the Traveler came to them and aided their fight. However, this time it was just against the Forerunners. These ancient humans learned to wield the light granted by the Traveler, leading to what is their Golden Age. The Forerunners struggle to fight this new power. However, the Traveler does not come without its downsides. The darkness discovers the Traveler's new location and proceeds to close in on it. Unbeknownst to these ancient humans, the Forerunners begin to commune with this darkness in an attempt to launch a joint effort to wipe out both the humans and the Traveler at the same time. The Forerunners end up winning with the help of the darkness and de-evolve humans just like in the Halo games. However, the Traveler escapes and a group of people follow it, escaping the Forerunners. So this is all just serving as some contextual setup. Now fast forward to the year 2560, or around the time Halo 5 and Halo Infinite take place. The UNSC heads to Zeta Halo just like they appear to be doing in Infinite. However, things get overwhelming. The Banished are kicking their ass, but just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, the Flood decide to break out of containment on the ring. Let's pretend the Spirit of Fire is on their way to assist the soldiers on the ring. But along the way, they stumble across a planet. However, this planet has a small white orb floating just above its surface. Captain Cutter would probably ask Spartan Jerome what the hell he's looking at, to which the Spartans would have no idea. Why would they know? They rediscover the Traveler that has gone dormant since it was near destroyed all those millions of years ago. The crew on board the Spirit of Fire spot a weird ship heading down to the surface of the planet and decide to go investigate. On this planet, they discover a species known as the Awoken, descendants of the group of humans that escaped the war, but physically altered over time due to the conditions of the planet. The Awoken seem to have thrived under the Traveler, while some have learned to master its light and are known as Guardians. Though the Traveler is dormant, this doesn't mean they don't run into trouble often. The Guardians often find themselves entangled with the Hive, Fallen, Vex, and Cabal when out looking for other beings, or even on their own planet. Regardless, the Awoken agree to assist the UNSC, though this decision won't be without consequence. Let's start looking at how this could function as a playable game, because there's a lot to unpack here. The fundamentals would feel more like a Destiny game. You would start by choosing your class, a Spartan, or a Guardian. Depending on which you choose, the beginning of the game will look different for you. If you chose a Guardian, you are born with a close connection to the light and are able to wield its powers, at least at a basic level, from the start. As a Spartan, however, you are physically much stronger, as well as having access to armor abilities and the ability to customize Halo-originating weapons via a crafting system, which is something that Guardians can't do. For example, a Guardian can use a gravity hammer, but a Spartan can enhance that hammer into something like Tartarus's gavel. Now, this doesn't mean Spartans can't learn to use the light as well, they can. However, they won't ever be quite as hard-hitting as the Guardians' abilities. Guardians also have further customization for their subclasses. You could do this, or there is another option. You could also make it so that Spartans can't naturally wield the light, however they can go down certain paths to utilize the darkness subclasses. Just another possibility. It's probably important to mention that this game would feature a Skyrim-esque skill tree containing things like subclass abilities, physical characteristics, and crafting. Yes, this is all wildly ambitious, but let's go a bit further. Similar to Skyrim, you could give these players the option to choose their life and playstyle. For example, Maybe a Spartan player hates the idea of Guardians coming into the UNSC and bringing their problems, aka the darkness, along with them. This player could become a certain bounty hunter, or quote, elitist, who gains a large boost to stats when around other elitists. This person could even show up as an enemy to Guardians on their minimap. Another example is that a Guardian player could decide to pledge their allegiance to the UNSC and unlock certain skills, armor pieces, and shaders. There would probably also be a loot system similar to that of Destiny's, but with far less RNG, especially depending on the role you pick. One interesting thing is that this would be the first mainline Halo game with proper health bars above enemies, at least I would imagine. Then again, this really isn't a Halo game, or a Destiny game. I would also imagine that there would end up being a few planetary locations, though the bulk of the story would take place on the ring. Another thing I just thought of is that if you pick a Guardian, you probably will have access to your Sparrow all the time, whereas a Spartan has to go and find a vehicle to use. However, to balance this, you would probably just make it so that Spartans can ride on the back of a Guardian Sparrow, so that if you are a Spartan playing with a Guardian, you're not just left without a vehicle the whole time. Now, I could talk forever about the possibilities here, and obviously this will probably never happen for legal and logistical reasons, but it's still fun to think about. And hey, there were some rumors here recently about a possible small crossover, so who knows? Regardless, it would be pretty cool to see Guardians and Spartans going head to head in Crucible, as well as fighting alongside one another against the Banished, Fallen, Flood, and all the rest. And come on, seeing Spartans wielding golden guns and Nova Bombs, it's pretty cool. I'll probably end up doing some more of these for other franchises and games and movies and whatnot, but if nothing else, now we have just a slight picture of what it would look like if Halo and Destiny ever did share the same world.